Yeah, hello there and welcome back, and let us continue with our lesson over here. So this is the second part of the asynchronous programming over here, and in the previous lesson we learned some basic concept regarding the synchronous and then the asynchronous. So let us continue over here, and if you take a look on the tasks that we have task 1 and the task 2. So if we run the task 2 in the previous lesson, if you go over here to the console, you can see that we have the task 1 started and then the task 2. So it was running on the synchronous order, but what we did is we fired some asynchronous code over here, and later when it got the value, it printed out for us. So the next option over here would be, what if you don't want to continue to the next line of the code and you want to wait for here until it completes or it gets the value, and you want to get that value before moving on to the next code over here, and then similarly to the next line of code and then the next line of code. So which means that here that you don't want to jump around the code, right? So first it's going to go here, here, and later come back over here and print that particular value, and later it's going to, so here it's going up, like going to the downward and again coming back and printing out the value for us. So the order here is not in the correct order, right? But in some cases what you want to do is you want to receive the value first before you want to move on to the next part of your or the next line of the code, right? So that is also the use cases in the many application. So what we'll do over here is we are just going to remove this particular function from here. Okay, so just remove this one, as well as I'm going to remove this one. So let's just close it over here, and now you'll see that it's going to return as the future of the type is of the int. So what I can do is the final, let's say final final a, which is of equals to the that particular value. So I can just go and run the await await over here, which is of the keyword, and once I want to use this await keyword, what I have to do is I need to make this one as the asynchronous function call over here. So now I'm just going to get that particular value. So what I'm doing over here is, hey, go and call this particular the future function, right, which is of the asynchronous code, and I'll wait for that particular value, right? So it's as simple as that. You just go and, okay, so I guess we just made some mistake over here. So what I need to do is I need to copy this particular code from here, and I need to create the new button over there. So let's just go and add in the previous functionality over here before moving on to the next one. So I'll just go and add the one more new button over here. And what we are going to do over here is we are going to await it. Await means just wait for this particular function before it move on to the next line of the code over here. So I'll just go and do the same thing. So this will be of the b, right? So a and b. Now I can just go and task 1 and let's say a and the n, task 2 completed, right? And then we want to give some value over here that will be of the, let's say, a plus the b. So whatever value is getting back, so we are going to add that particular value. And now we are going to run this particular application again, and let's go back over here. Now we have the task 2, so this should be of the task 3 over here, and let's go and run the task 3 over here. So now you can see that it started the task, right? So task is started over here, and then it went to the task 1, and the task 1 started, and then the task 2 ended, and then you have the task 2 started, and then the task 2 ended over here. So this is going to after that you can see that it's completed here, right? So we got that particular value, and then the task ended. So here it is still running in the synchronous order, like you execute this code, you execute this code, you executed this code, you executed this. It's going line by line or step by step, right? So it's much more easier to debug this particular code because you know that it's going to run in the synchronous order. So right, so it's not jumping around. So it, once the code is jumping around, it will be much more difficult to debug your code or the program. And but yeah, that's the thing that you have to face. So if you use the asynchronous programming, it's jumping around your code, but that is needed sometime, right? So it's really important to have asynchronous supports in your application, but as well as sometimes if you have a really complex asynchronous program, that's going to make your debug much more difficult because it's not going to execute in a synchronous order. So once we have that, you can see that it's a different compared to the previous one. Previously that it was executing all of this and again coming back over here once the value was ready. But now as you can see that we have been waiting for that particular value. We are saying that, hey, wait for this line of the particular code or this function to return us the value before move on to the next line of the code. So that is what we are saying it over here. Hey, wait for this particular value to return me some value and then only move on to the next line. So this way, sometimes you need to get that value from this particular future. Maybe you want to get a value from your API and store it over here and then pass that to the next API call, or that you want to store that one to the locally, store it to your DB or store it to a file system, right? So this is the requirement that sometimes you may get, right? So this is how we are going to do that one. So I hope you got the point how you can run the asynchronous code in a synchronous order using a async and then await keyword. So await means you are just going to wait for that particular task to complete or that feature or the function to complete before moving on to the next line of the code. So that's all for this lesson, and on the next lecture we are going to see again how we can run the concurrent asynchronous function together. So let's say if you want to concurrently run a two function, then how we can do it using the future and then the async in the Dart and the Flutter. So let's meet up in the next lecture. Till then, have a great day.